The acting national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Honorable Ali Dalori, has called on all party members and stakeholders to stay united, saying they must not allow the political transition to breed disunity. Dalori stated this on Monday in Abuja during his meeting with the National Working Committee, NWC, after he resumed or assumed duties as the acting national chairman of the party, following the resignation of Dr. Abdullahi Ganduji last Friday. He acknowledged the significant contributions Ganduji made during his tenure, adding that since his assumption of office in August 2023, he provided the party with experienced leadership, steadfast commitment, and a clear sense of direction. Joining us now to discuss the choice of the new acting national chairman of the APC and the resignation of the former chairman is Honorable Cletus Obun, former lawmaker and member of the All Progressives Congress, APC. Good morning, Honorable Cletus Obun, and thank you for joining us on the morning show.
Thank you so much, great Malabite. It is another rainy morning in Abuja.
Action. Anyway.
Action and positive action.
Very quickly, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduji's resignation came to many as a bit of a surprise. Was he pushed? Did he jump? Or what should we believe? Because there have been some stories on urgent and important matters, that he needs to attend to. What is the story behind the cover story? And then secondly, the new acting chairman, what should we expect? Because there's going to be another meeting that has been announced ahead of the convention of the party.
Well, let me say that the Dr. Ganduje's resignation, His Excellency Ganduje's resignation, he has given personal reasons of health. The issue of speculation and what is being speculated, of course, this is a political season and it's a political move. And it will be very unusual if any political action is taken and there are no interpretations or imputations made to it. So it is a very usual and normal thing to have happened. But essentially for those of us within the circles of the party who know how the party chairman emerged in August of 2023, barely 2 months after the swearing in of the present president, we will understand that Ganduje was a reluctant chairman. Reluctant because he was not and did not vie for that position. But the party felt after the election that we needed a stabilizing rod and a force that was going to be respected by all shades and tendencies within the party. Of course, you will agree that there is no political party without tendencies. What you call factions is an exaggeration or sometimes an exacerbation or escalation of tendencies. That is the common interest. For instance, if you know how APC came about, from the CPC to the ACN, which was a major player and a central player, to the new PDP and all that, those are tendencies that agreed and aggregated their interest to form APC. So those interests were playing out. And once the elections were done, the president, who himself had been an organizer of political parties and movements, understood that we needed somebody who was less contentious, because you agree that in the build-up to the primaries of APC, there were a lot of disagreements, there were a lot of actions and inactions, especially by the Adamu chairmanship, and that created a lot of tension within the party. So in order for us to take off on a good ground, the party agreed that he had to go, and that was how Adamu went. So Ganduje coming in was to stabilize, and you could see that there was less rancor. And having stabilized the party, and we are moving into the next phase, because the tenure of the present administration, the present party executive, is about to end. He didn't want to be pushed into the temptation of saying you have to continue because you have done so well. Because everybody will agree that there has been relative stability and peace within the party under the Ganduje leadership. So he didn't want to be part of the fray, and more than that, the organization and everything, of course, he owns his health, and every one of us can be sick anytime. So if he says he's not feeling fine, great. But I was so sure, and I'm so sure, that even if he stayed back, nothing would have made me him to recontest for a second tenure. So going at this time was to give the party enough time to take the leadership position to where and who ought to be there at this point. So I think it is good enough, and that he has played a statesmanly role for having done this. It shows that he's a man of peace, he's a man of stability, and respect.
Okay, Honorable. Obun. You've made the point of second tenures, and of course there's an elephant in the room where that's concerned. Where does this leave Vice President Kashim Shettima? Because of course the official position for now is that you have said that the party has said that once the president is re-elected at the Congress to be given the ticket, that at that point he will choose a vice president. Of course, we know from the president's track record that he is open-minded to shuffling his deputies. But with these dynamics, especially like you say, the return of the chairmanship to the North Central, which corrects an anomaly, where does that leave the vice president?
Again, we are dealing within the realm, we are operating within the realm of speculation and rumor from the usual political spin doctors. But let me say that at no time has the party agreed, nor the president insinuated that he's about to change his vice. In any case, the vice presidential position and the chairmanship of the party naturally falls within the North, given the zoning and convention of our party and of our national politics. The president coming from the South, vice president must come from the North, and the chairmanship also must come from the North. If you check our history, that's what it has been even during the tenure of Buhari since 2015. So nothing is going to change. So that in that way, the vice presidential position is not under threat.
You're saying that because you're speaking sort of vaguely and referring to the North. I referred specifically to the North Central and the Northwest. What will happen to those positions? Because the anomaly that happened that you just explained meant that the North Central didn't get to fulfill its mandate as national, in the office of national chairman. So are you saying that it will be okay that the APC and the nation at large will be comfortable with having both a national chairman and a VP from the same geopolitical zone?
No, please. The deputy chairman is acting to midwife. He's a midwife. He's midwifing the next executive. In fact, in the next meeting, a chairman will be nominated to fill that position. So what he's doing is only obeying the party's constitution. But let me also give Nigerians this, which is because of our nascent democracy, we are trying to steamroll a tradition. The purpose of political positions, especially party positions, is to bring party presence to a particular region so that when there are decisions to be taken about the party, that area, that is why we have even state constituencies, federal constituencies, senatorial districts. That's why we have ministers representing each state and all that. In terms of party structure and administration, it is intended that at all times, the regions and the structures of the party should be such that a decision taken by the party should permeate all strata of the party to the ward level. In fact, this is the first political party in our history that has a polling unit executive. This is the first party to do that. Now, the intentment is that there should be decisions taken. And that is why, for example, you find the issue of vice chairmanship going to the 6 geopolitical zones. The position of chairman, vice chairman are to the 6, but a deputy chairman must come from the same zone, north or south, as the chairman. The intention is that when the chairman is not there, that region that produces the chairman should still retain the chairmanship, whichever part of that zone that collects it. For example, now you have the deputy chairman from northeast because the chairman was from northwest. It could have been north central. The deputy will again come from either northeast or northwest. So also it is that now that the deputy is still maintaining the north, he will midwife the production of another northern chairman. Even in the next election, as long as the presidency remains in the south, the north must produce that. The vice president must also come from the north. Which part of the North, Northeast, Northwest, or North Central, is immaterial to the party. What matters is to balance it. At no time will you find the vice president and the national chairman come from the same zone.
Okay,
they cannot, and that won't happen.
With due respect.
So,
okay, finish your point before I ask my question, Honorable Cletus. Finish your point before I ask my question, Honorable Cletus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yes. So the point I'm making is that it is deliberate, it is conventional, it is also constitutional, especially for APC that I know, which stems from majorly, most of the constitution comes from the ACN constitution and part of the CPC constitution, that you must put positions in a manner that will be inclusive of all interest groups within the polity and within the party. So if you, for example, you take 3 positions as we have presently in the South-South, you have the vice chairmanship position in Rivers by Elsa. You have the publicity secretary in Edo Delta. Akwa Ibom Cross River ought to produce the woman leader. That it has gone to both Edo Delta to produce the 2 means that presently, Cross River Akwa Ibom does not have anybody in the National Working Committee. That is the kind of imbalance we are talking about. So as we produce the next chairman, the deputy remains in the Northeast with the vice president. But the North Central and Northwest are now left to produce the national chairman. That leaves that place open. So whoever fits that bill will definitely go in there. That is the position.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Cletus, but I'd like to disagree with you, and I put it to you that where the vice president comes from matters in the North. The agitation has always been that even this current vice president, there was no big voting pool from the Northeast as against the Northwest. And that's the argument. And that's why a lot of people are saying that these vice presidents should tilt, if they're going to get a new one, should tilt towards the Northwest. And these are the arguments that people are having. Secondly, a lot of people also posit the argument that historically, President Tinubu does not finish his tenure when he was governor with the same vice president. And that's the argument they are putting forward. Another point I'd like to put forward that they also put forward is the fact that all of this, him leaving the party, some are saying the APC is putting a front that is, based on political calculation. But they also say maybe this is also going to pave the way for some big wig entrants from Kano that will come into the party that we know that are congenital of some sort, enemies or perennial enemies with Ganduji. What will you say to all of these things I've posited?
I will start with your last question. And don't put things, when you put things and put us, make the guest look as if it's on trial. When you say I put it to you, you're putting us on trial. We are here to have a discussion.
No, with due respect, Honorable Cletus, Honorable Cletus, let me clarify.
Yes, please.
I put it to you.
The last question.
I put it to you.
No, don't always put,
wait a minute. Let me clarify this and let me set straight the ignorance.
Am I on trial?
No, you're not on trial. Let me set straight the ignorance that I've seen in society. I put it to you is a word that put forward a position that elicits a response for the other person. It doesn't mean that you're on trial. So I see a lot of ignorance as against the word I put it to you. It's just a normal word that articulates a point towards somebody. Because lawyers use it does not mean that it's a word on trial. So please, I'm just correcting the ignorance, the pervasive ignorance I see as regards that. So I put it to you, I'm putting my arguments to you as regards that.
Please.
That's just what I'm saying.
Let me take you this. Let me inform you about this. Language at all times is a function of society. It is not in isolation. Contextuality defines language, and each word in English language is defined by context. Yes does not mean yes at all times. It can mean no, contextually. But having said that, let's not turn this into a stylistic or linguistic contest. Let me take the point about the issue of the Northwest and the issue of the tradition of changing vice or deputies, as in the case of the president. Most of people who don't understand the historical antecedent, the history of Ganduje, because I know you are referring to Ganduje and Kwankwa, so big wigs coming in and all that. I don't deal like that. What I do is to, as much as possible, pin my case. In the Northwest, the pool of votes from Kano, most of the time when you look at the Nigerian political calculation and permutation, it's about Kano and Lagos, which come with 5-6 million votes. if you look at the last elections, none of them have brought 4 million votes out of the 5, 6 that they have on the ballot, on their voters register. None of them have produced 4 million at a stretch. So first of all, it is on the speculation and expectation that that will produce the number of votes. Secondly, the big wigs that are coming in or going out are not perennial or habitual or permanent enemies. On the contrary, especially in Kano, those have been long-time allies. Their differences in political party and permutation and convenience at any particular moment does not make them habitual or permanent enemies. Therefore, what we are looking at as a political party, we are not into a chemistry class where atoms have to rotate and then galvanize and come as organic molecules. That is not where we are. We are dealing with human entities that at any time are subject to change on account of either political climate or personal intuition. Now, in the case of people coming in, every political party aspires to have a large number of persons because number defines politics, especially in a democracy. Number is the magic. Therefore, if people are coming to the party, rather than take others out, it should rather be it is irresponsible, an irresponsible husband that discards the old wife simply because he's about to marry a new wife. So also it is that in the case of the vice president, the present vice president, like you said, there was no anomaly in taking to the Northwest. Like I said, the intentment of political positions is to galvanize support in an area. Because the political person asks you, you are asking me to come and support you. What is there for my own people? What is there for me first? What is there for my people?
Okay.
Now, in the Northeast, you already have a Senate president sitting, a deputy Senate president sitting there. A deputy Senate president sitting there, vice president sitting in the Northwest. So naturally, we expected that. And the Northwest is also keeping the speaker. So you have political presence for APC in the Northwest. They are not in any way lacking. In the North Central, you have the SGF sitting there. That is a key position in government. So if you look at the hierarchy, none of them is suffering any deformity. So what we are now is about where will we get our result?
Okay.
How do we get the result of the political permutation and calculations we are doing? That's very important and clinical for us. So I think that clearly what the political calculation should be for us is not about the change of vice president. That vice president is sitting well and sitting pretty.
On that note,
it's a matter of time.
On that note, Honorable Cletus Obun, thank you very much for joining us on the Morning Show.